Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the ACHA Power Play live here on 12 Ounce Sports and on our YouTube channel, which, of course, is 12 Ounce Sports. We invite you to subscribe to our channel. You'll get all of our ACHA Power Play broadcasts right here on our YouTube channel, which, of course, is the ACHA Network. And also, we want to remind everybody that starting today, we have our own Roku channel. If you've got a smartphone or, a smart TV, however you want to watch us, it's an easier way to do it. You can look us up. All of our live events, all of our programming now on Roku, our own Roku channel. So getting bigger and better, everybody. Another way to watch us here on 12 Ounce Sports. And, of course, the ACHA Power Play. You can watch us on our YouTube channel. As I mentioned, you can watch us on Facebook. You can watch us on Twitter, everywhere. We are live here on 12 Ounce Sports. Happy New Year, everybody. Merry Christmas. I hope you all had a great holiday weekend or holiday break. A couple of weeks off for us. Here's we get ready. We call it the stretch drive. Now, the marathon at the beginning of the year, how the ACHA season works. Practice is starting up in August, and then you've got about a 3-month span with the games going from around the Labor Day weekend to right through till the Christmas break about December 15th. Now that we're back, this weekend is going to be January 9th, 10th, 11th, whatever it is. It is sprint time because we are about a little over 2 months away from puck drop down in St. Louis for the 2025 national tournament. We're going to take you up to that national tournament and then, of course, bring you updates from St. Louis this year. Can't wait for that. It's going to be here before you know it, as these teams are all getting set, jockeying for positions. We'll tell you what the rankings are throughout the night here for all 5 divisions. We'll get you set after the break. We'll talk about all the happenings in the world of the ACHA too. A big game for the world of ACHA this past December. It was a couple of weekends ago. Or it was the Friday before New Year's, in case you didn't know. The running rebel, the skating rebels, I beg your pardon, of UNLV, ranked number 3 in the country in Division I. Every year they take on a couple of NCAA teams over the Christmas holidays. And, of course, they took on Lindenwood earlier in the year. But this year, over the Christmas holiday, they took on the defending NCAA champion Denver team, and they beat them in a shootout 7-6. It was quite an exciting game. They jumped out to a 5-1 lead, then hung on for dear life to go into overtime at 6. And then they got the shootout victory. And we get the pleasure at about 8 o'clock here tonight to talk to the man who got that game-winning goal in the shootout, Mattias Del Monte, captain for the Skating Rebels. He's going to join us at the top of the hour. We're going to go through that, kind of his experience with playing with the Skating Rebels, as they not only look back on that, but get ready as they're getting ready for their sprint, if you will, to try to secure their spot for place in the national tournament. They made it to the championship game last year in Division I, you may recall, taking on Adrian College, falling to the Bulldogs 3-0. So I know they would like nothing better to take that next step and bring the championship to the city of Las Vegas and UNLV. So we'll talk to Mattias at the top of the hour. Bottom of the hour, we're going to talk to bring back a friend of the show, Matt Sterling. He's the head coach of the Golden Grizzlies of Oakland's Division III team. Now, if you followed the ACHA over the last decade or so, Oakland was a mainstay in the national tournament scene, first at the D1 level, but then at the D3 level, Final Fours every year. It seemed like they were on top of the mountain. They won the championship in 2016 in Grand Rapids. They made the championship game, I think, in 2018 against Hope College. A run of Final Fours for like 5 straight years, something along that line. So Matt played on that team, and he's going to join us at the bottom of the hour as their Oakland Grizzlies are ranked right now 3rd in the country in Division III. So they had a little bit of a lull for a couple of years. Now they're back, and they're front and center, and they're ready to get back in the national tournament scene. At number 3 right now, playing in arguably the best conference in all of Division III, if not maybe in all of ACHA hockey, because they've got so many teams ranked in the top 16. in Division III in the Michigan Collegiate Hockey Conference with the likes of Hope College and the defending champions Lawrence Tech, Grand Valley, Calvin, Michigan State, you name it. They're all right there looking to get a piece of the pie to get into that tournament, into the format that's pool play, and then try to get back to the top of the mountain. So we'll talk to Matt here at the bottom of the hour at 7:30. So glad you could be with us here tonight. We're going to go over all the rankings, as I mentioned, all 5 divisions. We're going to do that after our first break, get you caught up on that. Also, we've got the Division II regional tournament sites. They're set as they're about 6 weeks away from going to that regional tournament. So again, the Division II, the only division where they have the regional qualifying play. And so the dates are set February 21st through the 23rd. The sites are set. So we'll give you the rankings in all 4 of those regions. And of course, how it works, the top 2 teams in each region, they get the automatic berth. They don't have to fool with the regional tournament play. That single elimination, winner go home style. Always fun for us as broadcasters and you, the viewer, whatever, the fans. But for the coaches, I know it can be a little bit hairy, if you will, for lack of a better word. I know a lot of them would rather not go through that, as they would like to bypass it to get right down to St. Louis. And so, yeah, we'll go through those rankings as well. We'll give you the scoring leaders in all the divisions. Big matchups coming up this weekend. We talked about the Skating Rebels. They've got a big matchup, a weekend matchup with Jamestown. They're ranked 5th. The Jimmies, another mainstay in the national tournament every year. It seems like they're always there, and they're looking to take that next step as well. I know the Jimmies were ranked number 1 at one time. So we got big matchups coming up, always big matchups. It seems like in Division I, these teams, just jockeying for position to try to get that automatic berth or get one of the top 24 berths. So we got that for you. We'll give you the scoring leaders in all the divisions. Like I said, a lot to talk about. Welcome back again from the Christmas break, from the holidays. It's great to be with you again. Captain Lou with you as we roll on here on another edition of the ACHA Power Play, our 9th season of doing it again, going back to 2016, 2017. Big thanks to Dave Kurtz for helping me get that started way back in the day, and it's blossomed into this, and just so much fun bringing it to you. So also, we'll talk about a little bit after the break as our national teams are getting set to play over in Italy at Torino. And so a lot going on in the ACHA, a lot going on tonight. We got a couple of great guests lined up for a little bit later on, about 20 minutes. Matt Sterling will join us, as I mentioned. And then at the top of the hour, the man of the hour, the man of the year maybe for the ACHA with that big win over Denver, the defending national champions at the NCAA level. Mattias Del Monte is going to join us at 8 o'clock. So, all right, everybody, welcome again to the ACHA Power Play. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we will get you set with the rankings in all 5 divisions. So don't go anywhere. We got a lot to go over. You're watching the ACHA Power Play. It's live here on 12 Ounce Sports, our 12 Ounce Sports channel on YouTube, and, of course, live on Roku. Welcome, everybody that's watching us there. We'll take a break. We'll be right back.
Need tickets to that next event? Well, at 12 Ounce Sports, we've got them with soccer anywhere in the world. Tickets to any venue, any sport. Want to go to NCAA or NFL football matches? We've got them. Yeah. Baseball at every level. Every Power 5 matchup is available. Don't forget, costumes and paint are optional. What's that? You want to go to Broadway? We have those too. Want to jam out? Every concert, every artist. That's right, at 12 Ounce Sports, we've got the tickets for less. 12ozsports.com/tickets. That's 12ouncesports.com/tickets.
And again, we want to remind everybody that we are the ticket broker. That means that we don't charge some of those exorbitant fees that you see on some of these other sites. So any game that you want to go to, college or pro, the NFL playoffs this weekend, we've got tickets to all those games. Wild card weekend, we got tickets for the NCAA college football semifinals with Penn State and Notre Dame on Thursday, Ohio State, Texas on Friday. NBA, NHL, you name it, we've got it. That's 12ouncesports.com/tickets. And again, use the promo code 12ounce too. You get an extra 5% off of your purchase. It's that simple. And so again, tickets.12ouncesports.com or 12ouncesports.com/tickets. Hit the ticket tab on our website. Just check out our website, 12ouncesports.com, and you'll see what I'm talking about. So we are your place to go for all your tickets. Welcome back again, everybody, to the ACHA Power Play. Captain Lou here with you. January 7th, 2025. We are about 65 days, 63 days, whatever it is. February 28th always throws me off. So we'll go with 63 days to puck drop. So that means 9 weeks. 9 weeks from now, the puck will be dropping as we get another national tournament under our belts here in St. Louis. Can't wait for that. But we still have a lot of hockey to play between now and then, with a lot of conference tournaments coming up the end of February, 1st of March, whatever, and regional tournaments, as we mentioned at the top, at the Division II level, with all 4 of the regional tournaments going to be taking place February 21st to the 23rd. We've got some big matchups throughout the year yet. Well, it seems like we've got at least 6 or 7 at the D1 level each weekend, with involving teams playing each other in the top 10 to top 20. So we'll go over all of that here on the show today. So as promised before the break, we're going to get through the rankings right now for the top teams in each division. Let's go right to the Division 1. I'm going to see if I can do this the right way here. See if I can share this. The magic of let's see, men. All right, let's see if we can't do this. All right, so let's go with the rankings here for men's Division 1. As you can see, number 1 is Ohio University. They got the top spot. The newest rankings will be coming out next week. Minot State, they bumped up 4. They're up to number 2. So watch out for the Beavers. They're looking to get back to the top of the mountain. Nevada, Las Vegas, we talked about them. These rankings, obviously, before the big weekend. Now, it's computerized rankings, so that big win against Denver isn't going to help UNLV. But I'll tell you, they're a force to be reckoned with. Liberty, back up there again, as always, at number 4. Then you've got Jamestown staying at number 5. Adrian College bumped down to number 6, the defending champions. Still looking strong in the GL6 on top of that conference. Niagara at number 7. Maryville at number 8. Utah up to number 9. They're up 1 from number 10. Then you've got Calvin at number 11. And Drury, or number 10 rather, Drury down to number 11. Then you've got Indiana Tech at 12 out of the Wolverine Hoosier Athletic Conference. And Grand Canyon up to number 13. And as you can see, University of Mary and Oklahoma flip-flopping positions at 14 and 15. University of Arizona at 16, Midland 17, and Purdue Northwest checking in at 18. They had a big weekend set before the break against Calvin. Oswego State at 19. And then Pittsburgh and Central Oklahoma. Good to see Central Oklahoma back in the rankings at number 21. Delaware at 22. Grand Valley at 23. Davenport and Northwood rounding out the top 25. So the thing to keep in mind, you want to keep an eye on, especially if you're if you're in the Division 1 rankings, is you've got 8 automatic berths. So if you want to play it safe, obviously you want to get the top 16. That way you'll secure your spot in the tournament. Some of these, obviously, these teams are going to win their conferences, but usually it gets down to around the top 20 or top 21. You get 3 outliers from some conferences that will snag a berth. One of those teams to keep an eye on is going to be Northwood. They've got quite the program. They're their first year, as they're ranked number 25. They've only got a couple of losses, 2 or 3 losses. We'll keep an eye on them with the Great Lakes Collegiate Hockey League. So they get one of the auto berths. So that's one to keep an eye on as well. So again, if you're at the Division 1 level, you want to kind of stay, right around the 16, 17 spot, maybe 18. That way you're pretty safe to get a berth down to St. Louis in the national tournament. And again, how the format is at the D1 level is it is single elimination. There's no losers bracket or anything. The top 8 teams will get a first round bye. But after that, it's win or go home. It is pretty intense. We've seen some surprises over the years at the D1 level. We had a couple of last year. Purdue Northwest made a nice little run, and Oswego State. So you always see one or two, but now there's no more. Those teams aren't, they're not going to be taken. Not that they were taken lightly. That's probably not the right word for it, but they're not going to go under the radar, if you will. That's always the fun part about this tournament. There might be a couple of teams that go under the radar in this national tournament at the Division I level. And then, they give some of these teams a scare. And so those are one of the ones that we'll keep an eye on. All right. At the men's Division II, we'll see if we can't bring that up. And I always tell everybody that I got to get my glasses on for this one. So let me see if I can bring those up real quick and give you an idea at the D2 level right there. So, this is probably an easier way for me to do this. How it works, as we said, the regions take the top two teams. They get the automatic berths. They go right to St. Louis. They don't have to worry about qualifying for the Nationals. So the top teams in the Central region, Lindenwood and Wisconsin, 1 and 2. Wisconsin bumped up to number 2. And they've been flip-flopping with St. Thomas, so those two teams get in out of the Central. And in the Northeast, it's Northeastern and West Point, Army. Northeastern always a mainstay in the national tournament. Seems like they're there at the D2 level every year. West Point, Army West Point at number 2. Then in the Southeast region, Florida Gulf Coast. Again, they're a mainstay as well. A national power at the D2 level for, better part of a decade, if not longer. And so they're there with Liberty. Right now, they would get the auto berths. And then in the West, it would be Weber State and Montana State. They would get the top 2 seeds. So, again, 3 through 14, you can kind of see there where the teams are at as far as the rankings go. They will play in the regional tournaments. In the Central region, that one's going to be played in La Crosse, Wisconsin this year. You've got St. Thomas at 3, Minnesota at 4. Schoolcraft out of Michigan at 5, Concordia, Wisconsin at 6, Sioux College at 7, Iowa at 8, Maryville at 9, and then Marion at 10. They're out of Wisconsin. And you've got Trine at 12, Michigan State at 11, and then you've got Adrian College at 13, and then Minnesota Crookston at 14 with Marquette just on the outside. The top 4 teams, 3 through 6, they get a bye into the second day. So if you're 7 through 14, you've got 3 games in 3 days to play. And so it's definitely a grind, but it's done. We've talked about this, I don't know how many times throughout the years with the D3 when they did the pool play, but there's teams that have made it all the way to the championship game. Iowa comes into mind, Kevin Brooks's team. They made that run a couple of years ago in Boston, making it all the way to the championship game at Division II. In the Northeast, you've got Connecticut College at 3, Bentley at 4, Holy Cross at 5, RPI at 6, New Hampshire at 7, Sacred Heart at 8, Boston at 9, and Connecticut at 10. And then you've got Providence at 11, Roger Williams at 12, Amherst at 13, Clarkston at 14 with Vermont right on the outside. Massachusetts, Amherst, of course, the defending year. They were the champs 2 years ago in Division II with that big win over Iowa. In the Southeast region, it is Ohio at 3, Virginia Tech at 4, Miami at 5, Penn State at 6, North Carolina State at 7, Kentucky at 8, Louisville at 9, Indiana, the defending champions, at 10. Then you've got Chapel Hill, NC at 11. Then you've got Cincinnati at 12, South Carolina at 13, and Michigan at 14 with High Point on the outside. Cincinnati, always a team to be reckoned with. There's some big names in this region that they got some work to do. We talked about Indiana at number 10, the defending national champions. Miami right there at 5. They went to the championship game and losing that heartbreaker in overtime to Indiana. And then Penn State and North Carolina. Now, North Carolina State, Kentucky, and Louisville are all going to Division I next year, along with North Carolina. So this is their last year at the D2 level. So it'll be interesting to see which of these teams may be able to punch their ticket to the national tournament as a D2 team. Finally, in the West, Utah is at number 3. Providence is at 4. MSU Denver at 5. Utah State at 6. Colorado 7. Montana at 8. Loyola Marymount at 9. Grand Canyon 10. Arizona State 11. Texas at 12, or 13 rather, and Denver at 14. I beg your pardon. Cal Berkeley is at 11. So those are the teams kind of looking to make their way in. Weber State and Montana State got the auto berths last year. Providence made it as well. So some familiar names right there in the top 6. And again, how it works is 3 through 14. They got to play in that regional tournament play coming up February 21st through the 23rd. And the sites for the national tournament, again, out west, it's going to be at Westminster, Colorado. And in the Northeast, Simsburg, Connecticut. And the Southeast region is going to be in Evansville, Indiana. And the Central, as I mentioned, at La Crosse, Wisconsin. So February 21st through the 23rd. Those are going to be the places to go, or the times rather, the dates, I should say, for the regional tournament. And yeah, it's amazing. You know, we've talked to coaches, and this is the thing that really, I sit back and I marvel at some of this, and I'll tell you why. You know, these teams aren't funded for the most part. So you get a team, you know, we talked to Kevin Brooks from Iowa. I always bring him up. He's a great friend of the show. They made it to the national tournament through regional play a couple of years ago. They had to go 3 games in 3 days. The euphoria of making it lasts until either that night or the next morning. And all of a sudden, boom, you've got to fundraise. You got to come up with $20,000 for the trip, you know, because you figure Division II, Division III, you know, you're getting at least 3 games with pool play. Same with women's D2. So you win these regionals, you go through, and you got 2 weeks to come up with this. I mean, it is like bang, bang, bang. And this is where I marvel at all of these teams. You know, the rankings, some of the rankings, the final rankings aren't determined until March 2nd. So you've got 10 days to come up with a game plan. You know, I know there's contingency plans and all that, but still, when that final result is in, yeah, great, you win, you're in, let's go. Then boom, you got to hustle. And it's not just the coaching staff, it's the players, you know, the discipline, the dedication, you know, it's just the organizational skills that these kids have. And so it's absolutely amazing. You know, I have a hard time planning to go to St. Louis now. I'm trying to get all my ducks in a row. And all I've got to do is get my tail down there in 2 months or whatever it is. You know, these kids, you know, they got to juggle studies. You know, I know some of them had exams that they had to study for, midterms, proxy, taking some proxy exams down there in St. Louis. I mean, it's just this, you know, it just shows you how disciplined these kids are. And it's just, I know I'm off on a tangent on that. And I talk about that a lot, but I bring it up because it really is something to marvel at, something that I don't think I could have done. I mean, I probably could have, but it would have taken a lot of work, and I give these kids all kinds of credit. All right. Let's go back now to more of the rankings. Let's see if we can get another set of rankings in here for the Division III level of the ACHA. If I can bring those up real quick. Here we go. All right. At the D3 level. Now, again, they don't do regional tournament play anymore at the D3 level. So it's the top 16 that make it. And right now, a D3 powerhouse is back on top. A familiar team up there with Chris Van Timmeren's Hope Flying Dutchman, ranked number 1 in the country. Got a chance to see them play against Calvin. It was quite the emotional game that night with the passing of legendary coach Mike Petrusma, and they played Calvin to an overtime game. It was absolutely amazing, and both those two teams are going to be in St. Louis, no question about it. But Hope on top, ranked number 1. The Air Force Academy, they're always there too. Another team, it's just year in, year out. They're always ranked in the top 16. usually a lot of times back when it was regional formatted play, they got the Adalbert, so they're at number 2. Oakland at number 3. The defending national champions, Lawrence Tech, at 4. Notre Dame at 5, looking pretty solid there. You've got Calvin at 6. Grand Valley State at 7. Michigan State at 8. Michigan at 9. Colorado School of the Mines at 10. Colby College at 11. UMass at 12. Missouri State at 13. Arizona State at 14. Dordt College at 15. And Sacred Heart at 16, with Central Maine hanging on the outside looking in. So top 16 going to pool play here, as we mentioned. It's obviously you want to get in the top 16, but you want to also make sure that you're and you want to get seeding, maybe get in the top 4, top 8. But it really, a lot of times, again, I'm not saying it doesn't matter, but obviously you got to win the games once you're in pool play. That's the bottom line. There's a lot of times the number 1 team in the pool doesn't make it. I've seen it, and again, I'll use Aquinas back when they were D3. Again, this is a long time ago now. Gosh almighty, it's been 7-8 years. They were the 3rd team out of their pool. So they were ranked 3rd. So they had to, you still got to win. Majority of the time, you got to win 3 games. Sometimes you can win 2 and get away with a loss. Not very often, but sometimes you can. And to make your way out of pool play into the Final 4. But also, as we mentioned, the stranglehold, as you just heard, at the D3 level is, it's the MCHC, the Michigan Collegiate Hockey Conference. Again, you look at the rankings, the teams out of the MCHC: Hope College, Oakland, Lawrence Tech, Calvin, Grand Valley, Michigan State, Michigan. That's 7 out of the top 9 that are probably going to head there. They're pretty entrenched in the top 10. They might drop a little bit, but they're pretty entrenched there in the top 10. So you're going to have 7 teams as the state of Michigan looking again to keep that stranglehold at the D3 level, as they have won that tournament or been in the final in the last 15 years. Sioux College, who did not play in the MCHC but was in the North region back in 2019, they won the national tournament. But other than that, you got to go back to about 2009 and maybe even further back before a team from the MCHC wasn't in the Final 4 or didn't win the national championship. All right, those are the men's rankings right now out of the ACHA. We've got Matt Sterling coming up here shortly. After we talk to Matt, we'll get into the women's rankings and see, we'll give you an idea where they're at as the sprint portion of our season is starting up this weekend. Speaking of Matt Sterling, the head coach of Oakland's Golden Grizzlies, let's see if we can't bring him in, see if he's ready. Matt, how are you? Welcome. Happy holidays. Welcome back to the show.
Happy holidays, Lou. It's been a long time. How are you?
Oh, okay. There we go. First show of the year, and I forgot to turn my volume up. How are you, Matt? Sorry about that.
Oh, I'm doing fine. It's been a long time. How are you?
I'm good. It's great to see you. Great to see you.
Yeah.
I was looking at your website. Is it true that this is your 7th year coaching? Is that right?
Yeah, a couple of COVID years in there. We'll count those for extra sake. But yeah, what was that? 2018, 2019 when I took over, something like that. So.
Oh my Lord! You and Bob both are in your 7th year coaching, and he's a general manager. Is that right?
That is, yep. He's been kind of right on my side the whole way, and obviously we wouldn't want it any other way. Obviously playing together at 2015, 2016, and then now kind of carrying it on from the guys that built it for us, right? Zach Warson and Troy Barron and that kind of thing. So Pete Gibb was there as well. So just carrying it from that era to this era and onward we go. So
boy, you're bringing out some blasts from the past. Have you talked to Pete Gibb lately at all?
Oh yeah. Him and Warson both in the Friday golf group, if you will. So so see them quite a lot. So
next time you see him, tell him I said hi. Pete's a good guy. I remember he used to come on the show a lot. So you guys ranked number 3 right now in the country. Great first half of the year for you. Tell us a little bit about your first half. Were you surprised by that at all? What stood out to you the most about your success in the first half of the year?
Yeah, I mean, it's a couple things. Obviously, we've got a lot of returners. So we returned pretty much everybody except 4 from last year. So the experience level is huge. You know, at our level, you have a little bit of experience, you can go a long way. So for us, that's been kind of the first hurdle, if you will. You know, just how the ACHA changed D3 rankings last year probably changed a little bit of how we operate as well. We, you know, with the schedule and stuff, maybe toning it down a little bit. You know, obviously you've alluded to it already, I think tonight, just with the North or the MCHC, if you play, you know, every weekend in that league, you're getting banged up. So it's just something, you know, a little bit lighter maybe on the schedule too, but at the same time, it's been really good for our kids. So yeah, really good semester.
Well, it's not going to be so light for you this semester before the Nationals. I looked at your schedule. My goodness, you got Michigan State this weekend, and then you've got Adrian, and then of course you got Michigan coming up. I mean, you know, it's a gauntlet. I don't care which way you cut it at the D3 level, especially for you guys in that conference, man. It is intense.
And really, it's, you know, you talked about it, Michigan State this weekend. I would say they're somewhere around 10, I believe, at this point. But you're looking at Michigan as well. For us on the east side of things, it's Michigan and Lawrence Tech that generally at the top. But you can't sleep on anybody. Adrian, you know, held in close with a lot of teams already this year. It's every weekend you have to pay attention and be on top. So it's grueling, but it's fun.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I have yet to talk to a coach that says that they wouldn't have it any other way. They'd rather have it playing a tough schedule. You guys just makes you guys so much better when it comes to tournament time.
Yeah, and it's just nice. You expect it year in and year out. Sometimes the players move a little bit, but otherwise it's you know, it makes it fun and prepares us for hopefully what's in front of us, right? As far as the tournament and everything like that. So,
Matt Sterling, the head coach of Oakland's D3 team, the Golden Grizzlies, ranked 3rd in the country, joining us here on the ACHA Power Play. Matt, you've got Brandon Deneau leading the country right now in scoring with 44 points. But it's not just him. You've got a good balanced attack. You guys have been able to put the puck in the net. I think your goal differential is like 115-30. That's insane.
And obviously just to touch on him for a minute, it's you know, 5th year guy, more determined than ever, you know, to come back and really with a lot of our guys last year just didn't sit quite right, just being last out for the auto bid spot for a conference championship elsewhere, you know, as far as not making the tournament and not having a lot of guys that left, you know, really spurred that kind of chip on your shoulder mentality. But for him, I mean, off to a hot start. He you know, you can't really coach some of the things that he does. It's just really impeccable. But you know, wouldn't be without some of his guys too. I mean, Avo, Arbor, McCaddy, those kind of guys that are helping him out. So it really has been kind of a group effort. But he is the main beneficiary at this point as far as you know, the standings go, if you call it for the stats. So.
You know, and I hate singling certain people, you know, just individuals out, because you get to, you know, if you're successful like you guys are, it is obviously a team effort. But I look at somebody like Reese Williams. You know, he's got 13 points as a defenseman, 12 helpers and 1 goal. I mean, it's so well-rounded. I mean, you got 13 guys in double-digit points. I mean, you spread it around nicely.
And that's probably spurred a lot of those top guys' success, right? The years, even in some of the years we've been really good, it's you know, maybe been a little top heavy, right? Where we have to rely on guys to play a lot of minutes. And now with the depth, that's really kicked in. Maybe you could say that's why some of those top guys are having great years. It's because they don't have to play a lot of the major minutes, and by the time they get back out there, they're fresh and they're probably taking on maybe another team's second or third line, and it's really been beneficial. So that's probably been another added piece. It's just the depth of some of those guys, and really that's kind of what spurred those guys' success.
So then you got the back end. You got Tate Pottinger with a lofty numbers 8-0, goals against a 1.6. I mean, and then you can go to Evan Hayes and Caleb Godlewski if you want. I mean, that's a difficult problem to have, isn't it?
Yeah, and Tate and Caleb Godlewski are both in the senior realm, so they take a lot of the bulk of the starts. But it kind of that chip on your shoulder mentality was really kind of brought in as both those guys being seniors. It's one of those things where, especially for Pottinger, it's last year feels personal almost. So you just getting to the tournament, getting there is great. That's kind of step one. But the goal in the room is a lot bigger than that. So it's fun to watch. It's fun to watch and just be a part of.
So I got to ask you now, when you played, back, 8-9 years ago or whatever, they had the regional tournaments. Did you ever have to go through that at Oakland, or did you guys always qualify for nationals, like being in the top two?
The year I played, not so much. But for a lot of the years I coached in the beginning, that was how we made it. There would be years, not to single out a certain year, but there'd be years we'd be the 9 or the 10 seed in the North, and really, it really just could, trap or string it together for a weekend and make it out. That was kind of for 2 or 3 years there. That was how we made it. Was based on that regional tournament. Obviously being in that high seed spot of the 9 or 10, you're playing usually 3 and 4 back-to-back nights, and so it was almost, you don't want to say more rewarding, but those were the heydays of really trying to just string a weekend together. And if we could get hot, we could get hot. And that was, I don't want to say it definitely was fun. It was something where all you had to do was win 2 games. You make it, as the 3 or 4 seed in the North. And then, like you've alluded to as well, make the tournament and see what happens. And that was the philosophy for some of those years, was just get there. But that, like I said, it's a different challenge.
And it's funny, is I don't want to put the cart before the horse here, but if you do get to nationals, it's crazy, especially the last 4 years that I've noticed going down there and doing the games. Is I don't care what your seed is. I mean, the ones lose to the 4s, the 2, and vice versa. I mean, it is. I mean, the cream of the crop, which, all right, I'm going to blow the horn for the Michigan teams, usually rises, but it's still, I mean, you still got it. You can't take a game off, man, in the national tournament.
And the thing that's really changed maybe for how it all works and everything, it's just, it's with the national seeding and the 16 teams and whatnot. Obviously, there's opportunity where a lot of the North teams or MCHC teams are in the same pool now. So what used to be 1, 2, 3, and 4 spread across the pools, you might have 3 North teams now in one pool, which makes it even more difficult. And that's not to say anything about anyone not in the North. It's more just very familiar faces, very familiar games, and that kind of thing. So yeah.
So I got to ask you now, we talked about this in the first portion of the show tonight. I kind of got off on a tangent about the turnaround time. I got to give you credit, you and your players and the coaching staff. When you find out you're going, again, as a player, you found out you guys had 2 weeks to get your poop in a group, if you will, to get everything lined up, funding, classwork, the whole bit. How do you guys do that? That's the part that I think I marvel at the most.
It's chaos. Chaos, let's call it. And having Bob in that GM spot, that's, we kind of joke that that's where his time to shine is, but it's a staff effort. You've got guys that have been with me for a while, but also guys that played either for me or kind of alongside of me a long time ago. So, Tyler Lampman, Logan Ray, those guys they're there every day. So they know, they know that, okay, we've got about 2 weeks. We try to scrap some fundraising together, whether it's GoFundMe or the school trying to help us out or whatever it is. And then, for some years it was, Frisco, Texas. Other years it was Boston. We were thankful for Columbus, the few years that we had, because it wasn't too bad for us, but
right.
And we haven't had a chance with COVID and then last year to do the St. Louis trip yet, but but hopefully that's kind of on the horizon. So yeah, it is something where logistically for hotels and everything, if you're not really in those top spots, which a lot of years we hadn't been, you're scraping it all together.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's funny as I'll see some of the coaches that from the teams that make it out of the regional, especially at D2, when they get down there, you can tell they're whipped, and then they still got hockey to play down there. What Matt, what do you guys if there's anything you think your team's got to work on here in the what I call the sprint part of the schedule to keep your momentum going, what do you think it might be?
Well, the players aren't going to like it, but I'll say it's got to be just either the conditioning or just the day twos. Obviously for us, it's great when we're at home, and most of the time for us, Friday night is a home game. But at Buffalo Wild Wings Arena, it's great where everyone, it's kind of got that good vibes feeling as you're playing. But then getting geared up for day two is probably where we do tend to have a little bit of a letdown or a little bit of a struggle. But down the stretch, that's kind of hopefully something as we continue to hopefully have success is just, okay, start preparing guys. Like you said, pool play at nationals, you've got to play 3 no matter what. And you've got to win the pool. So that's something to, obviously take and look as a lesson. And then I believe this year, I'm not sure there's a day off between, if you look further than that, it's really 5 days straight. So, that's something where, they're not going to like it as much maybe down the stretch, but if things keep going well, we're going to probably see a little bit more intensity in that department. So,
and I think a lot of times too, you guys, I don't know if it's a curse or a blessing, is you get to play in that Vezina Cup tournament at the end of the year, man. And I'll tell you what, that is about as intense as it gets as well, isn't it?
And there's a lot of pride in that, right? Just knowing that you're playing, if you don't play some teams during the year based on being a crossover game or whatnot, it's kind of something that where we're all together, we're all in the same spot. This past few years, the first 2 rounds count for ranking. So, everyone's there trying to, either do a job or try to upset somebody or whatever your scenario is. And then rounds 3 and 4 are after that, but then you're kind of thinking, well, maybe we should try to win this thing. And obviously, that ego and pride gets in the way as well. So it's got its pros and cons, but I'm all for it. I'm all for it. If you're, especially when you make the semis, if you're in it, you want to win it. So that's definitely it.
Yeah, I remember the first one that I covered was the one you guys won in 2016 when you beat Aquinas. And thinking, man, I didn't know what to expect in that tournament, and you show up there in the semis and the finals. Man, it was like you guys were playing for the Natty. So that was pretty cool, I thought.
Yeah, it's been talked about as far as how to make it better, but it's definitely, even in years where we haven't been able to make the tournament, right, it's still something to kind of go out on a high note for, is trying to win the league championship. And I think that's by design. I think it's been really good. So
what's changed in the play, the style or anything since you were a player, now that you've been coaching for 7 years? Is it different? Is it more, is it any more intense? Is it the level of play better? I mean, how has it changed?
It's interesting. It's interesting. It's, and going from 1 year in between playing and then coaching, even to see from year 1 to now, kind of the difference in kids and the difference of style of play has been really interesting. You see now, I think kids maybe in general are individually more talented. The game is much faster, faster, quicker, even probably bigger and stronger than when we played, as far as, back even almost 10 years ago now. But the thing too is really hockey IQ sometimes a little different, right? They think the game differently than how you're used to coaching maybe. And really, you see a lot more just run and gun, dump and chase type of stuff. Possession is not necessarily the end all be all, maybe where it was years ago. And that's something you see almost automatically, whether it's, you bring in kids, whether it's from juniors or high school or wherever it may be, that's what you see a lot of the time. So.
One of the things that I've noticed in the last couple of years, 2-3 years, is like from when I first started covering, you used to see some teams with one or two guys that would be head and shoulders above everybody else, points wise or goal scoring wise. I don't see that. It's more like with you guys, it's more the wealth is spread a lot more with the good teams anyways,
Mm-hmm.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah, that's, I think, really just been a product of the growth of the level, right? I think you've got a lot of kids in Michigan, no matter where you are, but really just a lot of kids that are whether that is top end high school kids, maybe tier 3 junior, that want to stay close to home, and you're seeing that maybe is the option of, okay, I have a chance to play in national tournaments. My high school team wasn't very good. High school, the kid could put up 40, 50 points, but his team's not any good. Right. So like, he's never had a chance to maybe even have that experience. And then you're talking, okay, well, it's a level that I can compete at and be successful. And at the same time, have a chance to win something on a bigger scale. That's those kids now, I think, is what you're kind of seeing as the draw, and you're seeing the level slowly get better. A lot of times in those depth spots, second, third line, fourth line, that kind of thing. So that's just kind of the landscape around our area, at least Michigan, and whatnot. You see it with Hope and Calvin and all these schools. So.
Well, Matt, this has been fun. I appreciate you taking time out tonight to be with us. Congratulations on a great start. I know your work is not finished. Good luck this weekend. Is Don Headley still coaching for Michigan State, or is he kind of
he's in the GM role, I would say.
Okay.
Rem Murray is the coach over there now.
He still is, okay.
Yep. So they're in tandem, kind of work together as far as what they have going on over there. And obviously, for them, it's you got 40,000 kids to pick from at Michigan State, so they're always competitive. It's always going to be a good battle for us. So.
Well, the reason I asked is last year, I think it was when they were in the tournament, I was broadcasting one of their games down in St. Louis, and I said Rem took over, and Don texted me. He's giving me he was giving me the business. He says, I'm not done yet. So if you see him there this weekend, Sunday, maybe at Munn, tell him I said hi, would you?
Will do. Yep. And he's still present.
That's awesome. So. Matt, again, thanks for coming on. It's always fun catching up with you. Good Lord willing, and the creek don't rise, we'll see you down in St. Louis, and also maybe we'll be able to see you over at the Vezina Cup tournament come the end of February. Definitely.
Thank you for having me on. And if we're in St. Louis and we've got a steak dinner, we've got a plate for you.
Boy, that sounds good. You heard that up there. All right. Sounds great. Thanks, Matt. Enjoy the rest of your season, and we'll talk to you real soon.
Sounds good. Thank you for your time.
You bet. Matt Sterling with us, the head coach of Oakland University, their D3 team, ranked number 3 in the country right now in the ACHA men's D3 poll. And as we mentioned, the top 16 teams get in. There's no more pool play from years past. And we talked about it, earlier before Matt came on, like with my personal experience covering Aquinas when they made their title run in 17. You had Hope College a couple of times were ranked number 1, or they would be third ranked in their pool. They'd get knocked out in the opening round. So, they don't have to worry about that anymore with the regional tournament play. But still, you want to get in. They're like Matt said, they were ranked right at the edge, right 15, 16 last year at Division III, and they got knocked out by an auto bid. So just like at the D1 level, if you're at D3, you want to be ideally probably in the top 10, top 11, just to secure your spot to go down to St. Louis, because then you don't have to sweat it out until the last minute. But Oakland doing a really good job so far with that, as they are right now ranked number 3 in the country, looking pretty good. But they got a big matchup this weekend against number 10 Michigan State, another team that's very familiar with going down to the big dance at the national tournament. And then they've got Adrian. Then they've got a matchup with number 9 Michigan. Their team, of course, 2 years ago in Massachusetts won the whole thing as they unseated Hope as the national champion. So a lot of pedigree and the Michigan area, a lot of big weekend series left for everybody, not just Oakland. So, all right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we are going to take a look at the women's rankings at the D1 and D2 level. And then still to come in about 9 minutes, we've got Mattias Del Monte, the captain of the Skating Rebels, scheduled to join us. Of course, UNLV with that huge win over the defending NCAA national champions, Denver, about a week and a half ago. It'd be great to talk to him about that and about their prep for the national tournament coming up. They're ranked number 3 in Division I. I got a feeling we're going to see them make a deep run again at the national tournament. You're watching the ACHA Power Play. It's live right here on 12 Ounce Sports, of course, our YouTube channel as well, 12 Ounce Sports. And we're on Roku, on our Roku channel now. Make sure you check that out too on your smart TV. It's 12 Ounce Sports.
Need tickets to that next event? Well, at 12 Ounce Sports, we've got them with soccer anywhere in the world. Tickets to any venue, any sport. Want to go to NCAA or NFL football matches? We've got them. Yeah. Baseball at every level. Every Power 5 matchup is available. Don't forget, costumes and paint are optional. What's that? You want to go to Broadway? We have those too. Want to jam out? Every concert, every artist. That's right, at 12 Ounce Sports, we've got the tickets for less. 12ozsports.com/tickets. That's 12ouncesports.com/tickets.
That's right. We are your ticket broker. You will not see some of those fees that you see on some of these other secondary markets. We got tickets to all the big games coming up this weekend. Football taking center stage at the college and pro level with the semifinals in the college football playoff. And, of course, wild card weekend. We've got tickets for you to those games. Check us out at 12ouncesports.com/tickets. Again, thanks to Matt Sterling, the head coach of Oakland University, their Division III team, ranked number 3 in the country right now, for stopping by and joining us. Great conversation with him as well. All right, let's get back. I want to go through the rankings, finish the rankings with the women's side now at the D1 level. Again, they take the top 10 teams that go to the national tournament. So let's take a quick look at that. The number 1 team in the land, no surprise here, Liberty, ranked number 1. They're looking to get back to St. Louis and to avenge their championship game loss or their semifinal loss, as they did not make it to the Nationals. They had a string of 5 straight national championships broken, and I know Chris Lowe would like nothing better to get back to the top of the mountain there. They're ranked number 1. Adrian College bumped up a couple of spots to number 2. Maryville's at 3. Midland at 4. McKendree at 5. And you got Minot at 6. Indiana Tech at 7. Michigan at 8. Niagara up 1 to number 9. And then Miami is up to number 10. And Lindenwood on the outside looking in at 11. So, again, the significance of that is the top 10 teams make it at the D1 level for the ACHA women. The top 2 teams get a bye right to the quarterfinals, and then 3 through 10 play kind of a double elimination tournament, if you will. And they get actually a loser's bracket round. So they get 2 games, but you don't want to do that. Obviously not. Then you really got to play a string. We all know at Minot State, Michigan, Minot scoring that goal with 1/10 of a second left to go into overtime. They ended up making a run all the way to the finals where they dropped it to Adrian. So those are your top 10 teams at the women's D1 level. And then finally, at the women's D2 level, again, this is kind of like the men's D2. If I can bring these up, where are the women's D2 rankings? Okay. Oh, no. All right. I know I've got them here. Oh, there we go. All right. Let's bring those up. I got to get my glasses on for these. All right. So again, how it works is this is a little different for the women's side. Now their rankings are, they're kind of, because of the size of the regions. All right. At the D2 level for the women, the Northeast region, they take the top 4 teams out of that region. So in this instance, it would be Northeastern at number 1, Boston College at 2, Boston U at 3, and then St. Anselm at number 4. They would go as of right now. But then you've got number 5, you've got Vermont, then you've got UConn at 6, Sacred Heart at 7, and then you've got Providence at 8. Now in the Central Division, they would take 4 teams as well. And right now, Eastern Michigan is ranked number 1, unseating the 2-time defending champions, Sioux College. They're at number 2. Ohio State is at 3, and Central Michigan is at 4. Northern Michigan right behind them at 5, and Michigan State at 6, Aurora at 7, and Lawrence Tech at 8. Now, in the Southeast, because it's a little bit bigger, they get 5 teams out of that region that would qualify for the national tournament. Liberty at number 1, the Naval Academy at number 2, Villanova at 3, Niagara at 4, and Rowan at 5. Right now, they would get the top berths. And then after that, it would be Mercyhurst at 6, Maryland at 7, Robert Morris at 8. And then finally, in the West, they would get 3 teams, a smaller regional. So they would get 3 teams to come out of that region to go to the national tournament. Number 1 is St. Thomas, and they're unseating a team that's a powerhouse at the women's D2 level, Assiniboine. They're at number 2. They would still make it in this instance. Then you've got Wisconsin at 3. Then you've got Dakota College of Bottineau at 4, Iowa State at 5, Maryville at 6, Minnesota Duluth at 7, and Augustana at 8. So that would be what you would be looking at for the regional tournament right now at the or that they would qualify for the nationals. So again, with the D2 on the women's side, it is pool play, just like the men's D2 and the men's D3. So they would get 3 straight games, and then they would, the final 4, obviously the winners in the pools would they would go on to the semifinals and the finals. So kind of a look at the rankings of all 5 divisions as we kind of give you an idea. Again, we're only a couple of months away, 9 weeks, I believe it is. Puck drop will be on Thursday, March 13th, I believe. So it's going to be here before you know it. So we're really looking forward to that. The road to St. Louis has turned the corner into 2025. So, hey, without any further ado, let's go back to our guest line and let's see if we can't bring in the game winner, the game-winning goal scorer for that big game against Denver, Mattias Del Monte, kind enough to join us. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing well, Lou. Thanks for having me.
Hey, the pleasure's all mine. Happy holidays. Your holiday was made a little bit sweeter with that big win over Denver, huh?
Yeah, it was awesome. It was awesome. We stayed in Vegas and practiced through Christmas. So that was a change of scenery, but it was great. It was cool being around the guys for that extended period. You know, we had nothing to do except practice, lift, and hang out. So that was awesome. And then, yeah, we went home. We got a week off this past week. So, you know, great to see family and friends and, yeah, have a little something to talk about.
So I got to ask you, you know, you're playing these NCAA teams. I know you did last year. Obviously the result wasn't what nobody likes to lose. And then, of course, you played Lindenwood earlier this year. I've never played at that level, at the collegiate level in any sport. When you're out there on the ice with some of these teams, do they take you seriously? Do they trash talk you? Tell me a little bit about that when you're out on the ice.
No, I think especially guys at that level,
yeah,
it's, you know, they don't waste an opportunity to play. For them, there's a reason they schedule these exhibition games.
Okay.
You know, for Lindenwood at the start of the year, they want to get their systems right. They want to get their feet under them because, there's limited exhibition season. And so, they play us, they get their feet under them, and then they go in and play, they went to Wisconsin the weekend after us. And so there's, I'd say there's no team that we've played that hasn't taken us serious in that regard.
Okay.
Like Denver, same thing. We talked to a couple of guys that, we have some mutual connections on the team, and they say, we're just as dialed in. They went to Maine last weekend and played them. And that's why, they get 2 weeks off for Christmas. They get to play us in a game, get their game speed back. And so they're just as dialed in as always. And, they, sure, they could look past us in a sense and saying, okay, this is a tune-up game, but they're still out there taking it serious and talking to those guys after the game. It was nothing but, respect for the game we played and, kicking themselves a bit for not being as prepared as they should have been.
Well, I got to tell you, Mattias, one of the things that obviously I was impressed when you jumped out to the 5-1 lead. That is amazing. But I got to tell you what impressed me even more was, and I always marvel at teams that are able to kind of regroup. 6-6 going into overtime. You guys didn't look like you were rattled at all, and you rebounded from that, held them off, and then got that shootout win. My kudos to that. What did you guys say at the end of regulation, just to kind of maybe put that, but not being able to maintain that lead and just refocus into overtime?
Yeah, it was all about the messaging on the bench was all about keeping our composure and saying, hey, we're in overtime now. What happened that period happened. They came in waves. We got into a bit of penalty trouble, and realistically, I mean, they're too good of a team to give 3 power plays in a period. They're going to capitalize.
Yeah.
And so, it's easy. We're all getting, myself included, getting frustrated watching it slip away.
Yeah.
But once it goes to OT there, hey, gather your heads. If you're on the ice here, play composed, make smart plays. It's playing these Division I games. Like for us going to play Denver, there's such, 2 national championships the past 3 years. It's easy to put them on a pedestal. But at the end of the day, you just got to remind yourselves, hey, these are a bunch of guys 19 to 24, just like us, playing hockey their whole lives. They're more skilled than us, but at the end of the day, when we're out there on the ice, no one cares. Just play them as men.
I got to tell you, Mattias, even from a selfish point of view on my side, covering the ACHA for a decade now, and then I don't think you guys get enough recognition, but to me, it just shows that maybe there isn't such a gap between the D1 ACHA and some of these D1 teams. And, you played the cream of the crop at NCAA level,
Yeah, it's testament to the junior system. I think 100%, our team is super skilled. And I played a year of D3 hockey at Utica. Yeah. And, that's a high-end D3 program.
Sure.
And, we have comparable skill here. It's guys who excelled in juniors, and for whatever reason, guys who, there's Division I, they had Division I looks along the way that just didn't work out or didn't pan out. And it's cool that there's different avenues now. It's not, everyone just forget, oh, you didn't make it D1, forget about it. You get to come here and, live in Las Vegas and be a part of, the building of a special program, and you get to play these games and have these opportunities every season.
The following that you guys have too, I don't want to bring up, you didn't get to where you wanted to be last year. You almost did, but that championship game, the watch parties that you guys had in Vegas, that was awesome to hear about that, and to know that people were really paying attention to you guys out there out in Vegas while you were in St. Louis.
Yeah. That community support is so cool for us. And, we feel it on campus, and like you said, around town, like the community, it's pretty amazing to have that many people turning out at this stage in the program. And it makes, looking ahead to, when this program pushes over that line and gets Division I, it'll be so cool to be, they supported us all the way through. We had fans all the way.
So I want to go back to the Denver game for a second again. Now, Mattias, how many shootouts have you been a part of, at the end of games like that?
As a shooter, that was my second attempt in
Okay.
my hockey career,
Oh,
and
wow.
my first one was in junior, and I skied it. I didn't even hit the net. So when I was going, they had the booze raining in, and up until about the top of the circles, I was pretty much just focused on keeping the puck on my stick and getting a good shot off.
I mean, what was your nerve level like?
I said this in another interview. I think I wasn't expecting to go at, until I was thinking maybe 10th round around
Okay.
there, I'll start dialing in. But I was just I was in watch mode. Once we got out of OT, you're kind of like, okay,
Yeah.
forms, cheering for the goalie, cheering for the shooters. You're just watching. And I had my chin strap undone. And when coach gave me the tap, it was like I didn't have enough time to get nervous. I did it all, got out there, and yeah, like I said, focused on not losing the puck when the booze started coming in. And yeah, looked up. I think the lack of thought helped me. I was confident when I got in there. And our second shooter beat the goalie low glove
Yeah.
and hit the post. So I just figured, hey, may as well go back there.
Well, you got to tell Coach Greener, just, don't put me on the shootout until about the 10th. That way you're not waiting for it. And then, because maybe if you're waiting for it next time, maybe it won't be, the result won't be the same then.
Yeah. Now my percentage is up. I don't need to go anymore.
Well, hey, you know what? That to me would be the ultimate prize, in a game like that, to be able to do that. I think that would be so much fun. I've never been a part of that. It's fun watching, but so let's talk about this year a little bit. Now, I know, again, you had a good run at the Nationals last year. You got to the championship game, and you guys, you did well. You did it. You run into a solid program like Adrian, but how much of that has been your focus when you started training camp or even summer lifting or whatever coming into this year?
Yeah. Yeah. It sets the expectation super high, which I think is a good thing. All us returners were coming back and saying, okay, it's literally championship or bust, because we got there last year. We're second place in the country, and the only way to go up from there is to win it all.
Yeah.
And so we had that high expectation coming in, and I think that's helped us. It's been important to kind of stay present and not look ahead to it, and not think, oh, we just nationals. It's been okay. Who do we got this weekend? Handle business there. But I think we're taking all the right steps. We've developed a ton as a team over the first few months of the season, and it's just about laying down the foundation so that when we get to nationals, we can win 4 games in a row.
No, it's obvious, Mattias, you guys, everybody looks at the rankings. I mean, you see where you're at. This may be a dumb question, but how hard is it to not try to get distracted by having such a high ranking and keep the focus towards the prize?
Yeah, I think the first few weeks of the season are always the worst for it. Everyone, there's a lot of movement, and it's like, oh, where is everyone? Where is everyone? Past that, you kind of settle in and say, hey, we just got to play. At the end of the day, play, win, let the rankings figure themselves out.
And I was talking with our previous guest, Matt Sterling, the coach of Oakland, and what I look at, and I've noticed in the last couple of years, is the more successful teams are the ones that don't have the one hotshot shooter, and then everybody else really far behind. I look at your team; you've got so many guys that are the scoring level is really distributed evenly with you guys, and it looks like you can go to anybody to deliver for you guys, and that's a sign of excellence, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think our coaches did a great job recruiting this year, and the depth we have is a testament to that. And yeah, like you said, it's we get into these national games where it's win or go home, and you never know which line's going to step up. It could be your first, fourth, second, third, and that's what makes that's why Adrian won last year. They had 4, their third, fourth line stepped up in the finals, and they found a couple that we couldn't find, and that's what single elimination games are all about. It's about your whole team and who can find them.
Well, I got to tell you, one of the things that stood out to me with you guys watching it in person last year and broadcasting it was good teams like yours, and is the discipline level that you have. And you guys had that. And when somebody asks me the difference between D1 and D2 national tournaments, that's it. You can't take dumb penalties because you can't give up a power play goal. You put yourself in a hole. And I think that was a big part of your success, really, the discipline that you guys had right through. And you ran into a buzzsaw in the finals, but the discipline level you guys had was enormous. And I think that's huge.
Yeah, 100%. It's massive. When, like I said, single elimination, it's one game, you got to win it. You can't just let a little mental slip, a little retaliation, put you down a goal. You can't give away goals. And so, yeah, that's a huge emphasis for us all year because, it's the habits that we have. If we're taking bad penalties in November, one's going to leak in at nationals, and you can't have that. So we've done a good job of building our discipline so far this year. And like, it's a great point. It's especially when you get into nationals and you're playing the best teams in the country, you don't want to put their power play unit out there. You don't want to even give them a chance.
No, that's right. So one of the other things too, and you got another big test this weekend. You got Jamestown coming. They're always a national power. You guys, even though you were runner-up, you got the target on your backs too. And because a lot of teams use you as a measuring stick as well.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I mean, Jamestown being up there in same geographic location as Minot, I think they must get sick of playing each other all the time. And so it's nice for them to, when they come down here, they say, okay, let's, we'll play some of the other top teams in the country. And I like to think we put the target on each other's back. It's no, we know that they're going to bring their best, but we get just as excited to play them. We had a great game in Chicago against them. It was tight checking. It felt like playoff hockey. And so we're excited for it. It'll be good. They play a super structured game. So we got to be ready to match that.
And you talked about that showcase in Chicago. Those are fun. I bet you they're more fun for the players than they are for the coaches. You get away and get a little different kind of, not really a national tournament feel, but kind of a structure like that where you get to play some top teams.
Yeah, it's cool. We always play teams that we don't usually play, which is fun. And it is a good, like you said, it's not exactly like the national tournament, but it's a good prep for that. And, for most of us, we haven't played, there's games at nationals in the morning, at noon, in the middle of the afternoon. Like we're not, even that stuff is good prep saying, okay, we got a 10 a.m. We played Jamestown at like, noon, and it was good. We get in our routine. And then when we go to nationals, that kind of, okay, we did this a few months ago and we played well. And
So I got to ask you, when you first thought about coming to UNLV, and did you all think playing hockey in a city that gets to 120 degrees? Did that ever cross your mind at all? I know maybe that's just me thinking stupid thoughts.
I mean, in a good way, yes. I thought, wow, like what a treat. I've played hockey in cold weather towns and cities for my entire life.
Yeah.
And my buddy that I grew up with was actually playing on the Knights at the time. And he said, dude, like hockey is growing out here big time. And, we play and practice at the Knights practice facility.
Okay.
And so he said, I obviously trust him a lot. And he said, dude, I watch these guys practice all the time and it's good hockey. And so, having that trust from him, and then I got out here on a visit, and I actually came kind of late spring. So it wasn't quite too hot. And I was like, wow, this is hard to beat. I'm from the Pacific Northwest where I was just home for a week and I don't think I saw the sun one time.
Oh my.
And so, it's been great, but honestly, everything it's a comprehensive program. My academic experience has been great. I hope to stay here and work here after I graduate.
Oh, good.
Top-notch facilities and, golfing year round.
Oh, boy, you can't beat that, can you? What's your handicap?
I play off a 12.
Well, that's not too bad. I would take that. I'd take that about now. What? So you're from the Pacific Northwest. What was your? Who was your favorite hockey team growing? Well, you're young compared to me, but who's your favorite hockey team?
Canucks. Always the Canucks.
Right on. Okay, the Sundin brothers, huh?
Yeah, I love the Sedins. It's nice. My roommate here is from the Vancouver area.
Oh,
and
cool.
So we watch every Canucks game. So we're always breaking down the team. Yeah.
So if there's one thing that you may think that you gotta, I don't know, maybe just tweak a little bit to keep that run going to get to St. Louis and get the brass ring, what would it be that you maybe as a team or yourself you think you may have to work on a little bit?
I think our exits out of the D zone, if we just get the puck moving north a bit quicker, I think our O zone's been so good this year, but we've been a bit prone to being hemmed in at times. I think we get our exits, we get out of the zone quicker. We're gonna be hard to handle.
Well, I know, like I said, it's going to be fun to watch in St. Louis. Good Lord willing, and the creek don't rise. I don't see that where you don't make it, but keep up the great work, Mattias. It's fun watching your team. I watched the highlights of that win. I've seen you guys on Flow Hockey, and it was a joy to be able to broadcast your games last year at the national tournament. And keep up the great work. Thanks a lot for taking time out to be with us tonight. This was fun. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
You bet. And again, we'll look forward to seeing you in St. Louis, and good luck. And congratulations again on the big win over Denver.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
All right. Mattias Del Monte, the captain of the Skating Rebels, ranked number 3 in the country right now, as we mentioned, at the D1 level. They got a big weekend set against Jamestown coming up. So there's no rest for the weary. And but I know they wouldn't have it any other way, as it gets them battle tested, and it helps with the rankings too to stay in that top. It's like we mentioned, you want to stay in the top 8 to get at least a bye rather, out of the first round into the second round of the national tournament. And it just you get an extra day off, and just it's a grind. Towards the end, you got to play 4 games in 4 days. And like Matt Sterling mentioned, at the D1 level or at the D3 level, you got to play 5 games in 5 days. But none of the players would mind, I guarantee it, to get to that top of the mountain, that ultimate prize, the national tournament. All right, we're going to take one more break. We come back, we're going to give you the matchups, the big matchups this weekend in all the divisions, as we get you set as the road to St. Louis has turned the page into 2025. We're about 9 weeks away from puck drop to the national tournament. You're watching the ACHA Power Play, and it's live right here on 12 Ounce Sports.
Need tickets to that next event? Well, at 12 Ounce Sports, we've got them, with soccer anywhere in the world. Tickets to any venue, any sport. Want to go to NCAA or NFL football matches? We've got them.
Yeah.
Baseball at every level. Every Power 5 matchup is available. Don't forget, costumes and paint are optional. What's that? You want to go to Broadway? We have those too. Want to jam out? Every concert, every artist. That's right, at 12 Ounce Sports, we've got the tickets for less. 12ozsports.com/tickets. That's 12ouncesports.com/tickets.
That's right. We are your ticket broker. We don't charge those fees that you see at some of those other sites. If you want some great seats for some great games coming up this weekend, pro and college football takes center stage for the most part, with the college football semifinals in Division I, then wild card weekend in the NFL. We've got tickets to all of those matchups. 12ouncesports.com/tickets. Again, just check out our website or tickets.12ouncesports.com. Use the promo code 12ounce and you'll get an extra 5% off of your ticket purchase. So yeah, we are the place to go for all your tickets. So thanks again to Mattias Del Monte, the captain of the Skating Rebels of UNLV, fresh off that big win over Denver, the defending national champions in the NCAA level, 7-6 shootout win. So great conversation with Mattias, a lot of fun. You'll see the Skating Rebels down in St. Louis coming up March 13th through the 25th for the national tournament. So they're going to be there. They're ranked 3rd in the country. I don't think they're going to fall too far. So they're keeping pace. They're not going to let up. Don't get me wrong. They know what they got to the championship game last year in that run that they had going up against Adrian College in the finals, but then losing 3-0. But it still was a great game, closer than 3-0. Would say the third goal was an empty netter, but again. It's going to be another great run, I have a feeling, for the Skating Rebels. Thanks to Mattias for joining us here. All right, we got a few minutes left here. Let's take a quick look at some of the big games coming up this weekend with ranked opponents taking on each other at all the levels here. Women's D1, we've got a couple of big matchups. Maryville and Minot, number 3 against number 6. These two teams, always a huge matchup when they play. I know Minot looking to get back to the national championship scene. Maryville looking to make some noise this year as well. And also at the women's D1 level, it's going to be number 15 Michigan State against number 13 Arizona State. Now, remember that run that that Arizona State had last year, making it to almost unseating Liberty in that game. And so they're going to be back there. But this is an important game for both these two teams, as they need to get into the top 10. So they got to start making some hay while the sun shines to try to get up there into that 10th spot to secure one of the last spots in the national tournament. So we'll keep an eye on that. Men's D1 tomorrow night, Mary and Minot. These two teams know a lot about each other. This North Dakota rivalry picks right back up tomorrow. And Minot State ranked number 2 in the country in Division I. Mary is at number 15. They're looking to kind of get their momentum back, get their mojo back to stay within the realm to get another national tournament bid. Of course, Mary, they had that heck of a run at the D2 level, winning a couple of national championships and making it to the national tournament every year so far at the D2 and at the D1 level. Coming up this weekend, we talked about it. The Jimmies of Jamestown going to Vegas to take on the Skating Rebels, number 3 against number 5. Number 1 team in the land, Ohio, the Bobcats. They're going to take on Pittsburgh, ranked number 20 this week. Number 18, Purdue Northwest against number 24, Davenport in a GL6 matchup. These are big games for both these teams, big weekend, because we mentioned there's 8 automatic berths in the ACHA at the D1 level. And so you want to kind of get yourself up in that 18 to 16 range to make sure you secure a spot. 24 probably won't get you in. So Davenport with a little bit of work left to do yet. Still got time. Still, a few weeks obviously left before the national tournament. And then Grand Canyon at number 13 taking on 16th ranked Arizona this weekend. Two teams looking to get back to the national tournament. So some big matchups at the D1 level. D2, we've got one matchup this weekend with ranked teams. And this is a huge weekend set in, at Liberty. It's going to be the number 1 team in the central region, that being Lindenwood, traveling to the number 2 team in the southeast region, that being Liberty. So those two teams, no strangers to national tournament play. Lindenwood obviously made it last year. So did Liberty. So this is going to be a matchup. This is going to be a heck of a matchup. Lindenwood went to the Final Four last year at the D2 level. And at the D3 level, we've got a handful of big games, but we've got Lawrence Tech and Calvin, number 3 against number 6. And then it's going to be Oakland, number 3 against Michigan State, ranked number 10. So, yeah, some huge or number 8 rather. So a couple of big matchups at the D3 level as well here in the state of Michigan, as teams kind of jockeying for position, chasing the number 1 team in the land, that being Hope College, and number 2 being the Air Force Academy. So a couple of huge matchups. Lawrence Tech, the defending national champions, looking pretty strong as they're looking for a bid to go back-to-back at the D3 level. So, All right. Hey, that's going to do it. We want to thank everybody for joining us here tonight. We want to thank Matt Sterling, the head coach of Oakland University, for taking time out to be with us. His Oakland Golden Grizzlies, as I mentioned, ranked number 3 in the land. He played on that national tournament team from 2016 and those teams that went to the Final Four. He's been around them a long time, and they're back in national prominence. Good to see the Golden Grizzlies back. And also thanks to Mattias Del Monte, the captain defenseman for the D3 or the D1 third-ranked team, the Skating Rebels of UNLV, fresh off their big win over Denver. Great conversation with both of them. If you missed it, you can look it up on our YouTube channel on 12 Ounce Sports. We've got all of our shows, all of our Power Play shows, along with our Captain Lou Extravaganza shows on the 12 Ounce Sports YouTube page. Check back and, watch whatever portion of it. Those 2 great interviews, catch the rankings, whatever you may have missed right here on the ACHA Power Play. And again, most of all, I want to thank you, the viewer, for taking time out to let us come into your homes on your computers, your iPhones, and now even on your smart TVs, as we are on Roku, on our Roku channel on 12 Ounce Sports. We invite you to check that out as well. All right. Again, that's going to do it. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We'll be back next Tuesday night, 7 o'clock, same time, another edition of the ACHA Power Play as we get you set with the road to St. Louis. And, oh, by the way, before we go, good luck to our men's and women's teams heading over to Torino for the World Games. The ACHA teams with their all-star teams heading on over there. Coach Ellis from Arizona State leading the way, along with assistant coach Jenna Triviano, coach from University of Michigan. They're heading over there. And, of course, head coach Gary Astalis on the men's side, along with Wyatt Wasylenchuk heading over there to take part in the World Games over in Torino, Italy. Good luck to them and the entourage. I know I talked to the storyteller, one of the voices of ACHA over the last couple of decades, Dr. Rasty McGibbon. He's going to be over there as well. And the executive director, Craig Barnett. So everybody over there, I hope you all have a safe trip in representing the ACHA and the USA over in Italy. All right. Next Tuesday night, 7 o'clock, another edition of the ACHA Power Play. Thank you for joining us here on 12 Ounce Sports. Captain Lou saying keep your heads up, keep your sticks down, keep your feet moving, and as always, keep your minds open. Good night, everybody.